Hallo ihr lieben Frauen, guten Abend. I'm gonna talk in English because I'm here with my guest, Azúcar del Mar from Sapzurro. And as you see today, it's a little bit different. We are in the same spot. We are in this very little Caribbean town. And I met Azúcar while walking through the sandy streets of Sapzurro, that's the name of the place. And she's the owner of a very little, beautiful bar. And we were sitting there having a drink, and at some point we figured out that Azúcar speaks English and that she has an amazing story. She's a very inspiring woman, and I'm really happy to have you here.
I'm very happy to be here. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It's my first time in a live Instagram or something.
Yeah, so it's an honor for me. And the idea of the talk today is also to give you women who are mainly like in Switzerland and Europe, as where I come from, to give an idea about life here and what it means to be a woman here. And I think Azúcar can also show us a little bit, inspire us that pretty much everything is possible. So, Nadia, I would like to start with a question. Can you describe Sapzurro a little bit for the people that don't know it? How would, like, from your perspective, because I don't want to put mine, but how is it? You were born here, you grew up here.
Yeah, I was born and raised here. This is a little small village. We are not in an island, but it's a very isolated place. The only way you can come here is by plane or by boat. We don't have roads here. It's a small fishing village in the Caribbean. We are in the border between Colombia and Panama. We have a mixed culture of different regions from Colombia, because the people who found this place, they were from the coast, from Cartagena. But most of the people that live in here, we have boundaries. No boundaries. How do you say when you have your ancestors came from
ancestry? Yeah, your ancestors came
from Cartagena, but also from the Chocó. So we have the influence of the Pacific and the Caribbean at the same time. Also Panamanian influence, and from the inside of the country, from Medellin. And a little bit, because a lot of people like this place and came here to live. So we have a mixed culture here. And it's a very quiet place, beautiful. It's like paradise. I know it's a cliche, but it's for real, I swear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, as you described, it's a very isolated place. It's very small. So when I met you, I was very much amazed because you speak English and you traveled a lot. You lived in Panama, you lived in the States, you traveled to Africa. And you also kind of stand out because you're the only woman I saw that, that spoke English, that's highly educated and all of this. I mean, I don't know if there are others, but that you were the first one that I crossed. So, can you tell us a little bit about how it came that you went traveling, you have your own business, and I mean, I don't know, I want to describe the energy of that place. Like, it's really laid back. So most of the day people are in the streets, really calm. There's not much culture, not much art.
Yep.
Yeah. So how did you find your way? What was it that called you to do so much traveling and become a bartender and all of this?
Okay, well, very first is my grandma, the mother of my father. She was a very power woman, She was born before World War II, and in that time, if you have to picture that this is in Colombia, so we are very late, very much behind Europe about mentality and feminism and stuff. So my grandma, he found a way to went to the university, and when it wasn't very common for a woman to study engineer, for example. My grandma is an architect, and it was very revolutionary for her time. She do that, and she inspired me a lot. Of course, my father, my family, we read a lot when I was a kid. When I was a child, my mother, my father, they told me stories, they read me stories, they make me read. So I got in love, totally in love with books and reading. So it started with the books, you know, because I read, for example, it is a dumb example, but I was a little child, like 6 or 7 years old. So I read or wrote? Read. I read Heidi, for example. So
Heidi.
I was imagining how is that? We don't have cows here, so for me it was amazing. Like, oh, they drink milk every day. That's amazing. I was trying to imagine how is that. You know, the mountains, the snow. We don't have snow here, so my imagination flies a lot with the books. So I read about what's the name of the guy?
Jules Verne?
No, the Arthur, I think.
King
from England.
King
Arthur and the round table. Yeah. So I read about knights, about princes, about a lot of stuff. But literature is very European. Mm-hmm. So you don't read about iguanas or cocodrilos or I don't know in books, in child books. So you read things that is not known for you. You don't need about guavas or piñas in the books. You read about apples and I don't know, deers, bears. We don't have bears here. So I was very excited. My mind was all the time imagining all the things I read in books. We have books about the Amazon, about Europe, about the ocean, about the jungle, about the deserts. So I was very curious since I was a little child. Then I started to read something, you know, more advanced. So I started to read about Latin America, about revolution, politics, history. And that makes me really curious, really curious. And my parents, for example, we have never had a TV at my house. Not even when I was a child, not even now. We don't have a TV. It's not like we cannot afford it, we can, but it wasn't necessary for us. So I think that helped me a lot. Not having TV give me so much time to read and to do things.
Yeah.
Not just reading, do things. So I was a teacher. Is the fast of teaching?
Taught?
I don't know, but I learned it. Yeah. I learned it from the beginning, since I was little child, that you can do a lot of things. Yeah. Even if you are a woman, you can do anything. You can, you know, cut trees with a machete. You can fish. You can diving. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, you can also study architecture, like your grandmother.
Exactly,
in
like
the
my
60s
grandma.
in Colombia, which is really.
It
amazing.
was like his father.
Her father.
Her father told her, took her out of his house because
kicked her out.
Kicked her out because that wasn't for a woman. You know, that's how men's career. And he was kicked out, and he even after that he finished, and he became a great woman. He traveled to Europe. You know, like we travel now, it's very easy, but he was a backpacker. I'm sorry, my English is not good enough, and I'm getting a little nervous because we are on live.
It's totally fine. Sometimes she's talking about the grandmother.
But my grandma traveled around Europe like a backpacker. Like, I don't know, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, that was very revolutionary for a Colombian woman. So I heard that stories about my grandma in London, my grandma in Rome, and I dreamed about knowing all those places, those amazing places in the world. And then, well, I went to the city. I went to the city to study in a university because we don't have schools or university here. It's just a small school for little childs, and that's it. So I went to Medellin. I went to the university. I studied history just because I like it. Then I studied for being a chef. and I worked it a little bit, but I saw that wasn't the way I wanted, you know, because it's like everybody told us that we have a pre-order road, a pre-order way to do things. So it's like you grow up, you study in the university, then you are a successful professional, then you buy a house and a car, get a husband, 2 kids maybe, and that's successful in life.
That's the same idea we have in Europe. That's
Yeah.
like the norm, so to say.
That's the normal thing, that you're supposed to do that. And I was starting the path, you know. I went to the university, then I started to work, but I realized that it doesn't want what I wanted. It wasn't make me happy, and I miss it a lot, my home. So once I work a little bit, I felt.
Sorry to interrupt you, but also for the work, maybe you can give us or give the people an idea, because I've talked to you and I've talked to many other people, what work actually means here, because about the hours and about the salary, because I think we have
it's
no
not
idea.
it's not a job like you are imagining in European jobs. No, this is not like that. My first job, well, not my first, my second, it was a nice job. I liked the restaurant because it was a very, very nice restaurant, and I was proud of working there. I was very proud that my mother went to the restaurant and see that was a spectacular restaurant. But in the background, my salary was 500 Colombian pesos, and my rent costed 400, and water, electricity, etc. costed 100 pesos. So I worked just to, people say that little girl is working very hard, but I didn't get any from my work, you know. My rent 400, my services 100. If I wanted to eat, I eat at the restaurant. If I have to, I don't know, buy a shampoo, I have to wait for my tips. If I didn't got tips, I didn't get shampoo, for example. So I think that I thought at that moment that was not way to live for me. So I quit that job, and I came back to my town. I got a little bit rest, a few, like 1 or 2 years doing absolutely nothing, living from the nature, you know. I fish my fish, and then I took my plantains and I cook it and I eat it. I was very relaxed. But then this magic starts because they told the next soccer World Cup we were in Brazil. So I was crazy about soccer at that point because I was a little bit younger than now. I liked soccer a lot, and I always have fantasies about Brazil and the Amazonas because of the books. You know, we read when we were a child. We read Cousteau by the Amazons. That was this guy that was an explorer, and he explored the whole Amazon River, diving. So I wrote that book. The book got pictures, so I was crazy about the Amazon, and I thought I cannot miss this. There is a World Cup of soccer, and there is right next to me in Brazil.
Well, it was the World Cup where Germany and Brazil played the final, where the Germans kicked.
Yeah,
that's
where
Germany
the Germans
actually
kicked Brazil, and we were very happy about it. But then when that happened, I at that point I was spending like 1.5 years doing nothing. So I haven't no money at that point. I was in zeros. So I started to talk
By the way, this is something that I feel I wanna point out. So the story that you just told, it's very common that people work for a very low 500,000 Colombian pesos is like the minimum salary, the official minimum salary is like 1 million, which is $200, and 500,000 is like 100 euros. And many people work for like 200 euros, 16 hours a day, and then they have to pay the rent. Nothing is left. So you work to survive.
Yeah.
And still, and that was, I think it's really fascinating that you decided, okay, I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah, it was not worth it. You know, I could work like, I don't know, 15, 16 years in a day, in a road. I left my home at 8 a.m. And I came back like at 2 or 3 a.m. So I barely sleep and wake up again and do it again and again and again. Then you have one day to rest. You know what? In that one day you have left, you don't really rest because you are so exhausted that if you sleep the whole day and you wake up like at 5 or 6 p.m., you wake up and you still feel like you are a bit tired, but you feel guilty because your free day is off and you didn't do anything productive or something. You didn't went out, you didn't go skydiving or something, but you don't have the energy to do that stuff. But then you feel guilty. You feel guilty because you have one day and you do nothing with your day, nothing but sleeping. So it's a terrible circle. I didn't like it a lot. I think I wait too long. 1 year and a half is too much.
I think many people pass their entire life in that situation.
Yeah,
you know,
a lot of
just
people
work
do that.
and work and work, and they're not happy, and they're just into that circle because, as you said at the beginning, it's the norm. It's what we expected to do.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
And when I came back, it's not easy because people start asking you. Every time you talk with someone new, they ask you, "What's your name and how do you look for?" How do you do for living?
What are you doing for living? Yeah.
If you are not working, it's like, oh, you are a, how's the name of this? Un vago.
Un vago. Ein Taugenichts.
Yeah, something like that. And there is a lot of judgment if you decide not to take the normal road. There is a lot of judgment at the first, but then when people saw you happy, when people saw you doing things you dreamed about, people start to understand, and a lot of them are tired too, and they ask you, "Hey, I'm seeing you very nice, very happy. You are doing well. Teach me, tell me, what are you doing? I wanna do something similar." And I try to inspire people to do it, to pursue their happiness, not the normal road, their own road. But people wanted to do it, but they don't
have the courage.
Yeah, they are lack of courage. It's not easy. It's a very brave decision to take another path. But trust me, it worth it. It worth it.
Yay! Woo-hoo.
Cheers.
This is my work. I'm very happy you're telling us this.
Yeah. Well,
tell us about the World Cup. Sorry, because I interrupted you.
About the Brazilian thing. So I was crazy about going to Brazil, but I was broke. I had no money in my account, and I started thinking I cannot miss this opportunity. It's right next to me. I love Brazil. I love soccer. I have to be there. So I have a friend, a women friend. Yeah, it's not my girlfriend. It's just my best friend.
Yeah.
So my best friend was living in Panama at that point, because she thinks similar to me. So she didn't want to work in Colombia and not seems any progress. So she went to Panama, because in Panama you at least you earn in dollars. So when you bring dollars to Colombia, the money multiplies, for saying in one way, because of the exchange rates. So my best friend was in Panama, and she told me, "Come here, you can work in anything, whatever you want, and you can save the money. We need to go to Brazil." So yes, I went to Panama. I started to work in everything I found at the beginning. At the beginning, I was a waitress. I washed cars. I babysit kids. A lot of things. I do a lot of things there. We sell Colombian underwear to Panamanian women. And that was a hit. That was amazing business. But I'm not very good with selling. My best friend is, but I'm not. So I did a lot of things. I worked like crazy, like 2, 3, 4 jobs. I worked very hard, but in a few months, I make the money I needed to go to Brazil. At that point, everybody was like, "No, you cannot go there. It's gonna be really expensive. It's the World Cup. It's gonna be the prices are gonna rise like crazy. You're gonna need like 4 Colombian millions to go there." People was telling me, no, you can't, no, it's too expensive, no, it's not for you, you cannot do that. But I decided.
Okay, so if I understand you right, it's like in Panama you also worked a lot, you worked the heck out of you.
Yeah.
But you did it because you had a purpose.
Yeah, because I got a purpose, and because if I have 2 different jobs, is because I needed the money in a very short time.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not like you have to work that much.
Yeah.
But I got a purpose, you know, and I was very focused on that, and I made it possible.
Yeah.
But the very magic thing about this, okay, of course, we went to Brazil at the end. It was the best trip of my whole life. We spent 2 months in there, but we don't have enough time to tell you that story. But
yeah, but the amazing
point is that I learned that you can work in any place in the world. There is something to do in every single city in the world. If you like Rome, go to Rome. If you like Paris, go to Paris. If you like Sapzurro, come to Sapzurro. Everybody in every corner of the world is human. Everybody eats. Everybody has to do laundry. Everybody had kids you can babysit or something. You can work in any place. You are not a tree. You are not planted in here. You can move. So I liked Panama. I went to Panama. I lived there. When I got tired, I was something else. I went something else. I went to Cartagena and lived 6 months in there. If I want, I can go to New York and work 6 months in there. In every corner in the world, you can work and you can live. Everybody's human. The same, of course, we have different languages, different cultures, but we are people at the end. And if there is people somewhere, you can go there and live in there and know there and learn in there. So I learned that lesson in Panama. So once I learned that, it was dangerous because it's addictive. Then from Panama, we went to Brazil. It was amazing. I traveled with my friend, both of us. We made this amazing journey through the Amazon River by boat. Wow, is spectacular. And that trip was very magical. I got in love with traveling, with new different cultures. And I started to travel from Panama. I went to New York. I was a nanny, a babysitter in there. I was a waitress. I have my first job as bartender in New York. From New York, I went to Texas. I lived in Dallas too. In Dallas, I was a babysitter. Then I went to Australia. In Australia, I was babysitting a baby girl too. And then I traveled with my brother and knew the country. It was amazing. I love Australia too. It's very, I don't know, the energy of the people is very similar with the people here, with the Caribbean people. It's like they are Caribbean Europe people. Something like that.
The mixture. It's the mixture.
And then it was a nice journey. I worked a lot.
Yeah, but when I listened to you, you worked a lot, but it was like kind of your decision. And the feeling I got is from you is like, oh, like you said, focus. Everything is possible. If I want to go to the World Cup, I don't have any money left. I'm gonna make it possible.
Yeah, and you can make it possible.
And now you're here, and I mean, you studied cocktail, bartending, and now you have a little beautiful cocktail bar in the middle of paradise.
Yeah, exactly. I love my place. I love my little town. I have traveled a lot, but I always came back to my place, my town. I start to have these sporadic jobs, not very formal jobs in bars, not amazing bars or very elegant bars like whiskey and beer bars. But I got a few of those jobs when I was traveling. And I start to think, I like this. This is a job I can do. It's not that hard like cooking. I like this one. So there were, I don't know this in English. Like they post an offer to... How do you say a beca?
Scholarship.
Yeah. There was an announce of a scholarship for studying bartending. So I applied. I was here in Sapzurro and applied for that. I went to Medellin for interviews and all the process. At the end, I get it. So I started for being a bartender, and I started to dream about having my own bar. But at that point, I didn't have money because I spent all the money, because I make money. Don't think I don't. I make a lot of money, but I spend my money. Like, first time I'm kind of building a house. But then my brother told me I have a World Cup in Australia, so I spend the money going to Australia. Then I was buying the house again. But my daddy told me, what if we make a road trip in Europe? Like, I was like, the house can wait. I spend the money in Europe.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and this is something else I'm really fascinated with, and I think it's not only Caribbean, it's also like a little bit south of Europe, the different attitude towards money. Because how I feel in Germany and in Switzerland, we define so much about a job and about saving money, and it's a very different mindset, which is equally valuable, to say, okay, I'm going to earn money and then I'm going to spend it, and then I'm going to earn money again and spend it, and not being all this, you know, this security, I have to have the job for 25
Yeah,
years.
exactly.
And I just think it's a new perspective one can choose.
Yeah.
And it works in so many countries. It's maybe not ours or yours, but it's a different way of thinking, which I think it's very important to consider, because we sometimes have in our country, we look like a little bit, we have like prejudice towards these things. Everything like, oh, it's not real jobs. But it's, if you look at the people, I don't see anybody in that town stressed out. I don't think they have any disorders caused from stress, which we have a lot back home.
Exactly. So then I got the scholarship. I studied for being a bartender. But I feel like the professions, you learn a lot in the school and the university, but you really dominate a job or a profession working it. So I didn't want to put my bar without have the proper experience. Mm-hmm. So I thought, where I can go and get this experience I want before I open my bar. So since I was a little child, because of books and Francis Drake, Sir Walter Raleigh, and all those books about pirates, I was crazy about Cartagena here in Colombia.
Cartagena is a city. It's the most touristic city here at the coast. It's beautiful, and
it has an amazing wall.
Sir Francis Drake. Really, the pirates were there. It's not.
It's not fantasy.
It's not fantasy.
Real.
It's really. It's true.
So I was crazy about Cartagena since I was a child. So I say, why not? In Cartagena there are amazing hotels. There is a lot of tourism, international tourism. So I thought, why not? Let's go there and get the experience I need. So I went to Cartagena. I worked in an amazing bar in there called Café del Mar. If you go to Cartagena, go there. I worked in Cartagena for 1.5 years. I saved money a little bit, not that much, because it's not a super job or well paid, but that's another story. So I saved some money, and when I was done with it, I thought that I have the experience now. I feel sure about me, about how I can do. Putting my own bar. I thought every night when I was in my job, there is a very crowded place. You know, there goes like 1 million people in there. So I get the costume. No, costume is like the phrase. La costumbre.
The habit.
I got the habit that I counted how many cocktails I made every night. So in my mind, every night I say to myself, if you make 300 cocktails this night, how much money will you have if you make those same cocktails in your own place? So I start to make that count every night, and very soon I quit my job and I came back home with the money I saved from my job in there. We started to build the bar. but it wasn't big money. It was a little bit. So we start to recycle the wood from the ocean. We make walls with bottles, glass bottles of liquor, of whiskey, of Buchanan's whiskey.
It looks really nice.
It's very nice. I can show you pictures later. The floor of the bar is made of all par whiskey bottles. One of the walls is made of Buchanan's whiskey bottles. And that kind of stuff. My daddy borrowed me some tejas para el techo. He borrowed me some materials for make a roof, and this one borrows me something, this one give me a present, and we mix all together and became an amazing bar. It's a beautiful small little bar next to the beach here in Sapzurro, and we open here like December 31, like 1 month and a few days. So I have my new business now. I'm very happy about it. It makes me proud and happy and relaxed, you know, because I'm not killing myself working. We work we work 5 days at work, we rest 2 days more, and we live very nice. We are thinking where is our next destination.
Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Welcome, sweetie.
I really hope that there are some gems in it, like some inspirations that no matter where you're from, no matter what background you have, that if you have focus and courage and really feel like, I feel like there's this authentic call from you saying, I don't want to do this, and then it's everything is possible, and that I think is a beautiful way to live.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited to be here.
So, dear people who are watching right now, is like to finish this up, is there anything that you would like to know, or any curiosity about something she shared or she didn't share? I mean, maybe not the travel route, how to get to Sapzurro. If you want to know, send me a text message. I'll let you know how. But is there anything you feel like you want to ask, or you need to know? Let us know.
Well, thank you so much for being here, for watching this video. I hope you guys talk about your friends, about this small village in the Caribbean. It's a nice place if you once came to Colombia, came here and came to my bar. This is a very nice place to live, you know. It's super nice when you live without stress. I have been sick of stress. I have scalps and sting and how do you know this?
Trembling.
The other things like cramps. Yeah, cramps, trembling, scalp because of stress. Living in the city, there is no need to stress that much. The life is too short and the world is too big to stay in just one place doing the same the whole life. If you like it, if you are happy like that, okay, go ahead. But if you don't feel happy, you have plenty options. There is not just one road you live to life. Everybody has his own path. And I think money is not a goal, a purpose. It's just the way to help you with something. But it's money just by itself, it doesn't make you happy. A lot of things are more worth it than money.
That's a great way to finish. And it's also a great way to just, and I'm going to do this in German, because in German, weil einfach noch für die Frauen, die merken, oh ja, das inspiriert mich, ich möchte auch mit eine klare Vision haben von dem, was ich will. Ich möchte, meine klare Vision ist vielleicht nicht die Weltmeisterschaft, ich weiß nicht mehr, wo die nächste ist, wahrscheinlich in Katar, nee, da war sie gerade, oh mein Gott. Die Weltmeisterschaft, wenn du ein klares Ziel brauchst und weißt, dafür möchte ich gehen, oder wissen möchtest, wie du gute Entscheidungen triffst, dann schau dich bitte hier den Link in der Bio nochmal an. Wir starten am 23., also nächsten Donnerstag, heute in der Woche startet das Programm in Vision with Love and Clarity. mit mir, wo du die neurobiologischen Grundlagen lernst, um wirklich klar zu sein, Ziele umsetzen zu können, Mut zu haben und von anderen Frauen dafür gefeiert zu werden. Link in der Bio und ich freue mich auf dich.
Bye.
Bye, bye.
Listo, we made it!
Amazing. Thank you.